Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stories by Tim. Um, yeah, I have a kitty that's not happy that I'm talking right now. We may see her soon. We'll see. So, there is something that I did. Um, I like watching pro wrestling. Uh, being a wrestler myself during high school. Professional wrestling was definitely something that I got into. Um, Rogers Hobby Shop was in Fashion Square Mall, and I came across well, it's kind of like D&D. It's a fantasy wrestling game, basically. Yes, Kitty just made an appearance. Um, I'm pretty sure that was Jinx, but I can't guarantee that. So I ended up buying it, and the game was dice. You had 60 wrestlers. You could name them whatever you wanted. Obviously, there were ones that were um, wrestlers at that time. Um, so you could name them exactly what you wanted to. Uh, I forget what mine was or was the one that I picked as my wrestler was deemed after. I know it was number 4, so it wasn't the top 3. It was number 4, but uh, I took that and ran with it for quite a bit, and I would do the matches, and then I got into the habit of I want to do commentary for it. I want to be the guy who calls the matches, that sits and does this. Well, my best friend at that time, Sean, he and I would do the commentary. I did, I recorded these on cassette tapes. That's how devoted I was to this. And I would play entrance music for the wrestlers. Um, Sean and I got, uh, you know, I was myself. Sean was Sean the Body. We used, um, um, you know, things that we knew from wrestling to kind of promote this, well, to ourselves. It never went beyond ourselves. Um, yeah. So he was Jesse Ventura, and I was kind of like Vincent McMahon, sort of, the way we did our commentary. So, being a wrestling fan, I read a lot of magazines at that time. I watched a lot of matches. I recorded a lot of matches. Um, that was back in the day when you had a VCR and you could actually program it to record certain times of the day. So I grew up. Um, I started watching wrestling right before WrestleMania 2. And thankfully, I was able to watch not only WWE, or it was WWF back then, but also NWA, which became WCW. and I got to see, Hulk. I got to see, everybody that came up through that. Andre, Big John Studd, all of that. I got to see the Four Horsemen, the Road Warriors, um, you know, everything that came up through that. So there was a lot of influence on what I'm about to talk about that came up through that. So reading Pro Wrestling Illustrated, um, I got to learn a lot about a lot of the wrestlers that were there. Sports Illustrated did a thing about Bam Bam Bigelow, which I actually used um, for English. I actually wrote a story about him. But in the back of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, there was a thing about a fantasy. I guess this is before fantasy sports ever came out. I mean, we're talking before the internet was even invented. But there was a thing about um, a fantasy wrestling thing, and I decided, hey, let's try this. So I promoted it in my high school. Um, it was based off of the game that I had purchased from Rogers, and you got to pick wrestling moves and all of that. Well, that worked well for a while, and then I decided, you know what? Let's amp this up a bit. So I went and wrote a computer program in BASIC. Man, this is the late 80s. We didn't have, you know, great things back then. so so I wrote it in BASIC, and I upped it to from 60 moves to 255 moves. And I assigned a point value to every move that you could do. And there were levels in that program that once you hit a certain number of points, you moved up to the next level. So you could not hit the higher point levels until you hit a certain level in the game. So I would make printouts of the results, and then I would record that on tape. And that was my senior year of high school. And I had computer class. I only had computer class because I did not pass. Oh God, what was it at that time? All right, there was this simple program for design that you could use, and the name of it escapes me right now. I tried to test out of the class because I had been doing computers since 6th grade. I know computers inside and out. I still do. But Pascal. No, that's computer language. But anyway, because I couldn't test out of it, because I hadn't done that particular thing, I had to take the class. 2 weeks into the class, the computer teacher, Mr. Troy Potter, love you to this day. even though we don't talk anymore, realized that I should not even be in that class. So he kind of let me do whatever I wanted to do. He and I had a contest, who could finish Zork first. I beat him on Zork 1, he won on Zork 2, and then I won on Zork 3. So I guess I won the contest of Zork. Go to figure. But because of that, I had ample time to kind of work on things. And that's where all of this came up through. Well, he's a wrestling fan as well. So he and I, when I created this wrestling league, we became a faction. We called them the Four Horsemen, homage to the original Four Horsemen. My two wrestlers were based off of the Road Warriors. His two were based off of the UP, the Youper, the Swamper. And we expanded things. Initially, I only allowed 2 wrestlers per person, and then we went to 3. So I added another wrestler. My initial wrestlers were Buzzer, Venom, and then I added Fang. So I kept a theme. I'm doing the same things these days because my 3 cats are named Mystic, uh, Jinx, and Hex. They're all black cats. I try to keep a theme going with things. So his were the Youper, the Swamper, the Super Youper. But we were the Four Horsemen. Well, we kind of dominated for a while. And then we started getting other factions involved with this. We had the Tiamat, we had the Back Row. We had a lot of wrestlers in that league. It was a lot of fun. We would show up early to school because I would record the results. I did all the commentary myself. I'd record the results, and then we'd listen to it before school. That was an amazing time, and I kind of miss that. I also was doing at that time a newsletter of wrestling. It started out with doing a newsletter of actual things that were going on with WW. Well, it was WWF at that time, NWA, and I would kind of give a breakdown of my thoughts on things. When WrestleMania 4 came around, I predicted 86% of the results of that event, including the Battle Royal. That surprised the heck out of me that I got that one right. It's not very often you can predict the results of something like that. When you got 20 guys in the ring at one time and you can predict the winner, amazing. But anyway, back to the wrestling. As you know, I do theater. And I just kind of came around to this realization a couple of days ago that doing this, because of the fact that we had very few chances to do theater in school, doing this kept me engaged. It kept me going, kept me playing a character, I guess would be the best thing to say about it. that's kind of what this did for me. D&D did the same thing for me. Being the dungeon master, being the evil characters and talking in their different voices, really kept me into theater. I wish to this day that I would have tried to do more theater. I really do. I really do. But this really, really did help. So we did all that. I still, to this day, and the guys that were in the league, I still have all your character sheets. I still have all of that database. But it was a great time, and I thank everyone that was part of that. And if any of you guys that were in that, thank you, because that really helped me more than it helped you. It was my way of doing my character and doing my theater business. And I thank you for that. So I went to U of M. This is pre-internet era. Internet was just starting when I got there. We had an intranet, not an internet, an intranet. And there were chat rooms, and one of the ones I got involved with was gaming, obviously. I wanted to find a D&D group. I wanted to, do something of that nature. There is going to be a story just in a second after I get through this. But I did restart my wrestling league. I rewrote my program for the Apple computer that my roommate had. And I restarted everything and added more people into it. I did that for a little bit, then restarted it a second time, and I would write commentary matches on that intranet, and yeah, they were amazing stories. I wish I still had copies of them. I would love to publish them, but unfortunately, I no longer have them. So going back to what I was saying, I was on a gaming site. This is something that can never happen today. I played a game of Assassins. We had 4 factions, and we're talking real person, real time. This was over a space of, I believe, 3, maybe 4 weeks. And we had squirt guns, we had disc guns, we had dart guns, and we were going around campus actually shooting each other. Each group was given a certain amount of information. One group was given one set of information, one group was given 2 sets of information. No more than that, if I remember right. But it was kind of crazy. We, like I said, we went on our campus trying to kill each other. Is basically what it came down to. And I actually, it got to the point I was carrying 3 guns on me at one point. One in a shoulder holster, which I made for myself, one on the side, and one in my pocket. Uh, yeah. And it was interesting because as a terrorist, which I was part of the terrorist group, we were trying to build a nuclear bomb to blow up Ann Arbor. That was our goal. Our leader was killed, and I swear every member of my group messaged the guy running the game. Where's the next piece um, of this bomb? And he when I message him, he's like, message me back. He's like, I've already told this person. I've already told this person. So I finally figured out who the leader of the police division that was hiding or was um, hunting us down was, and I arranged a meeting with him at the North Union. Um, I don't know if it's still there. I lived at Bursley Hall, on North Campus, and sorry, um, North Union campus. You had a food hall there. You had arcade games. It was just a fun place to hang out. So I arranged to meet with him, and before he could even get a word out, I shot him, killed him. I took out the leader of the police. Yay, me. So we shake hands, we talk for a minute, and he's like, "Hey, there's a game here. You want to play it?" And I don't remember even what game it was, to tell you the truth. And I was like, "Sure." So we start playing the game. Next thing I know, I've got a gun in my back and I'm shot. So yes, I did not survive the actual game. But kudos to him for having backup. I should have myself, but you know, hindsight's 2020. But yeah, definitely, it's not a game you can play today. After we got done with that game, when we actually won, the terrorists won. We actually blew up Ann Arbor. Um, we set up a single night game at the chemistry or the chemical engineering building, and there's a huge atrium there that's got several layers to it. It's got bridges that go across, um, stairways, whatever. We set up a single night game where we just ran around and tried to kill each other. And same sort of thing. We had squirt guns, we had dart guns, we had disc guns, whatever that we had. And yeah, once again, something you can't do today. Sad to say. I remember when I started high school and we went through the handbook, and there was things about you can't bring guns to school, you can't do this, you can't do that. And we would laugh at that because we had people that would drive in with their trucks. They'd have gun racks in the back of their trucks with guns because they were going deer hunting after school. Nobody thought anything weird about that. That was normal. That was the norm. And now, if you do that, you're gonna have police presence. Yeah. It's a different environment now than it was then, and that's kind of the thing. Why we can't do the game I did when I went to college. Why we can't, you know, have things like they weren't when I was in high school even. Things have changed. But anyway, um, yeah. So a lot about my fun times, a lot about what I've experienced with games, with, you know, private games, in-person games, running games. I haven't even gone into all my D&D experience yet either, and I have a huge, very huge D&D collection. We'll get into that another time, but I just wanted to share that I was talking to somebody yesterday about some of this experience, and I just wanted to share this while it was fresh in my brain. So let me grab my mouse. Thank you for tuning in. This is Stories by Tim. Like, subscribe, hit that alert button so you get notifications when I post more. As I say on another channel that I follow, ring the bell. That's all I'm going to say about that. So thank you.